So, in lesson 64, part 7, we're continuing to kill gremlins before we go to the golf course. So in the last piece we talked about how the head works, that the head is in the centre of the swing, it's not staying down or staying still. Now, I think I can say fairly categorically there is an ideal or optimum setup routine for every pupil that I teach. And broadly I could say the same about the backswing. So I can be fairly dogmatic and assured that there is a standard of ideal operation at address and in the backswing. When it comes to the downswing, I think it's a little bit more vague. I think there are choices and there are different ways of interpreting the shot. So from a very good posture and a very good backswing, you've got quite a lot of choice when it comes to the downswing, and lots of differing doctrine. Some people say the downswing starts from the floor up, others say the hips clear, others say that the shoulders or the torso cover the ball. One of the killers amongst people that read books, and particularly older books, is the idea that having made a backswing, you pull the bell rope. Because we see in slow motion great players go back, and then the swing is so dynamic, it looks like they're pulling and narrowing and coming through. Now you've got to remember, when you see a great player like Garcia, who's a great ball striker, and you see that apparent pulling of the bell rope, sometimes the camera lies. When you have a golfer like Garcia, he coils and then tremendous surge of power. There's a swing change, but the delivery is strong. And when you see it in slow motion, you'd be thinking that he was pulling. Now he may or may not be pulling. It depends how Garcia sees it or how he feels it. What I do know is that if you don't have Garcia's talent, the idea of getting to the top and pulling the bell rope is a classic recipe for a steep angle of attack and shots that are slapped out to the right. Okay, so here's my pre-shot routine and the deliberate shoulder coil that I've been demonstrating in the last few sessions. Okay, now in my mind I just release the club, and I think if you play it back in slow motion, because I stop at the top, everything goes together. Now there's a dynamic, and I call it reflex anticipation. As the ball comes over the net in tennis, my left leg's going forward as my racket goes back. When I spin a pebble across a pond, my left leg and left hip lead. And if you took a photograph of that, you'd be forgiven for thinking that I was thinking about left hip leading. I don't believe it's the case. I think if I spin the pebble, my left hip leads. And I think in the dynamic golf swing, as you coil and start the downswing, generally the hips and the legs are ahead of you by a nanosecond. So I think it stands to reason, and it's evidence when you see a great player swing. You may see what appears to be a pull. I personally believe that they've got to the top, their hips and legs are clearing, which gives the sensation of pulling. But if that pull was continue forever, the club face stays open. There has to be a point where the club has delivered squarely. So let's just clarify. When I swung to the top and stopped for you, and then swung through, everything came through as one. But with a dynamic golf swing, the legs and hips are clearing a fraction of a second before the top of the backswing. So I'll just a normal swing, and I'm going to ask Simon to do a slow motion copy of it after this shot so you can compare the two. Here we go. This is coil and release. Okay, I think if you watch that in slow motion, Simon will do a slow motion copy of that. You'll see that while the club was stationary at the top, my hips and legs have started down. Let's do that one more time for you. I'm coiling, and my hips and legs are clearing ahead of the hands. In here, I'm releasing the club. Somewhere deeper inside, the hips and the legs are going to win the race. So don't pull the bell rope, hit the shot.